السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام. كيف حالكم؟
بخير.
الحمد لله بخير.
الحمد لله. نبدأ الآن إن شاء الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد فقولوا معي اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. طيب، إذا كان ضجيج أو ضوضاء خلفك, there's noise behind you, فاعملوا mute من فضلكم. اللهم بك أمسينا وبك أصبحنا وبك نحيا وبك نموت وإليك المصير. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا. طيب إن شاء الله سنبدأ حيث تركنا الموضوع. ما معنى هذا؟ سنبدأ حيث تركنا الموضوع.
We will begin where we left the subject.
We will begin where we left the subject. ممتاز. أين وصلنا؟ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. طيب، وصلنا إلى منتصف موضوع جملة الاسمية. We arrived at the middle of the subject of the noun sentence. ولكن أريد أن أراجع المبتدأ النكرة. I want to quickly review the indefinite مبتدأ. So we did the definite خبر. We said in principle that the definite خبر is permissible in Arabic. Arabic doesn't have an objection to the definite خبر. The general principle القاعدة العامة, the general principle is that it shouldn't lead to ambiguity or confusion. All right, so there should be some context to tell you that the khabar is the khabar and not an adjective, usually not an adjective. So where there might be a confusion, we will add a damirul fasl here. Damirul fasl is the damir of separation, like هذا هو العالم, because if you say هذا العالم, then it could be confused to mean this scholar, as opposed to this is the scholar. So we have this huwa in the khabar. But the main thing I want to recap is actually the topic before that. Those of you who didn't attend the previous sessions, might be worth looking over the video, but I'm going to quickly go over the indefinite mubtada with you now. Bismillah. So we have here, give me a moment, make sure, yeah. So before we started the indefinite mubtada, we started talking about the word mawjudun. So where you have a sentence like at-talibu mawjudun fil madrasati, the student is present. Talibun is your mubtada and mawjudun is your khabar. This expression here is your shibhul jumla, or your jarrun wa majrurun, your prepositional phrase. No? So it's important to remember that sometimes some grammarians, actually, especially in modern Arabic, for shortcut, they'll just call this the khabar. For our purposes, this is not the khabar. The khabar is the word mawjudun here. Now, sometimes we can take the mawjudun away. So if we were to cross the mawjudun out, you're left with at-talibu fil madrasati. Yeah, so we get this sentence here, at-talibu fil madrasati. It's important to remember that the khabar is elliptical, which means it's hidden, it's here. And the khabar, if you were to make it appear, would be something like mawjudun or hadirun. And we also used another word sometimes, ka'inun. Ka'inun. Ka'inun means existent or being. The student is a being in the school. The word ka'inun also means being, from the verb kana. It's the ismul fa'il of the verb kana. Kana yakunu, the person who does kana is ka'inun. Right. So when you say huwa fil madrasati, we mean huwa mawjudun fil madrasati. هذا موجود في المدرسة. الكلمة موجودة في الكتاب, and so on. So when we have that, we have a situation where if you want to say a student is in the school, then you have طالب موجود, right? So طالب here is your mubtada, but now we've made it indefinite. Instead of saying the student is in the school, we want to say a student in the school. And in this situation, the Arabic language doesn't really allow us to do this unless there's something else, right? So in the absence of any other reason which allows us to do this, Arabic says if your mubtada is indefinite, you have to put it after your shibhul jumla. So you would say fil madrasati talibun. That means a student is in the school, or there is a student in the school, or in the school there is a student. All right. So that's your basic indefinite mubtada. And we're going to looked at some verses in the Quran that have indefinite mubtadas, and we're going to look at a few more today, inshallah. Okay, let's now move on to the second section of this chapter on the use of noun sentences where they're emphasized or they're transported to the past or present or negated. Okay, so we can emphasize a noun sentence, a jumla ismiya, with the particle inna. So if we take this particle inna, it generally translates as indeed. So let's have a look at what happens. Inna emphasizes a noun sentence and it makes the mubtada go up. So you say inna taliba, and it does not affect the khabar. So you say inna taliba mujtahidun. And grammatically, the grammarians, they rename this mubtada. They call it ismu inna, literally the noun of inna. And they rename this the khabaru inna, the khabar of inna. Okay, so this will happen with any other sisters of inna that do the same thing. The sisters of inna that we have encountered are anna, anna. And then there are a range of derivations of anna, such as, usually we put a preposition before the anna to produce a derivation. So we say li anna. What does li anna mean?
Because.
Because, good. Anna on its own means that. So if I say adhunnu anna taliba mujtahidun, I think that the student is hardworking. Because the student is hardworking would be li anna taliba mujtahidun. All right. We also do it with a ka. What does ka mean? What preposition is ka?
Like.
Like. Good. So if you put ka and then an anna, this usually produces idiomatic expressions. You put a preposition with anna. Ka'anna means as though. Yeah. So you say ka'anna taliba mujtahidun. It's as though the student is hardworking. Yeah. So if I say to you ka'anna taliba maridun, what does that mean?
It's as though the student is ill.
It's as though the student is ill. Yeah. كأنك متعب.
It's like you're ill.
It's as though you're ill or tired. Now, so we have لأن, we have كأن, you have بأن, and there are other situations where other prepositions go before anna as well. These are the two most common, لأن and كأن. There are other sisters of inna apart from anna, like lakinna, which means
But.
good. So there's a difference between lakin and lakinna. So if I say but the student is hardworking with lakin, I would say lakin at-talibu mujtahidun, because lakin doesn't change anything. This one lakinna does. So you say but the student is hardworking, you say lakinna at-tali ba. Good. Lakinna at-taliba mujtahidun. Good. Lakinna at-taliba mujtahidun. Good. And then we did a few more, such as, how to say barhabz?
لعل.
La'alla. Good. So la'alla is another sister of anna. La'alla, barhabz, or hopefully. So you say perhaps, or hopefully the student is hardworking. And la'alla, as you know, is a hope. So hopes are usually about the future, right? So this has a future meaning. You could say, you could translate it as hopefully the student will be hardworking. لعل الطالب مجتهد. All right. And now the student isn't hardworking, but we wish he were. How would you say that?
Later.
Later. Good. So we're going to use later.
Later always mean I wish. How do you make it we wish?
No, later doesn't mean I wish. Later doesn't have any person. At the moment, the person who's going to do the later is the student. If only the student were hardworking, yeah? But if you add a pronoun to it, like just with la'alla, so any of these you can add pronouns. So you can say la'allaka mujtahidun, hopefully you're hardworking, or laytaka mujtahidun, if only you were hardworking, you see? You say, if only I were hardworking, laytani mujtahidun. So only if you add a ni will it be about me. Does that make sense?
Yes. So what does it mean? Sorry.
So later, just the word later is just a particle of tamanni, we call it. It's a particle of hope. And it enters upon a noun sentence and adds hope to the noun sentence.
Does it have a future meaning too?
Not necessarily, because you could be wishing something were a state of being now that isn't. So if I say layta taliba mujtahidun, if only the student were hardworking, right? So you could have an unfulfillable wish in the present tense. Does that make sense? Or an unfulfillable or unfulfilled, right? Because not every wish has to be about the future. It can be about the present if you wanted the present to be different. Shadhiya, masu'aluki.
Can you sorry, can you explain the difference in the use of lakin and lakinna, please?
Yes, so lakin is not a sister of anna. So lakin just means but, and it has no effect. So if I say lakin, I would say lakin at-talibu mujtahidun, right? So this one would go there, and it is no effect. But lakinna, yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry, I just mean like when would you use one and not the other?
Okay. So you can use them interchangeably, for example, here. However, lakin is sometimes used as a conjunction, yeah, where it's not followed by a whole sentence. So you could say, lastu طالبا لكن عاملا. I'm not a student, but a worker. All right, you see. So now lakin is just a conjunction like wow. So where it's a conjunction, the word after it will agree with the word before it because it's being conjuncted. Does that make sense? I'm not happy. I'm not happy, but sad, right? Lastu sa'idan lakin hazinan. Because lakin, there's a conjunction, right? But when lakin and lakinna are being used to introduce a full sentence, then in that situation, lakin and lakinna have the same meaning, but lakin has no grammatical effect on the mubtada and lakinna does. Is that clear?
Yeah, jazakallah.
Good.
So if I want to say, but I'm happy, and I use lakin, would I say lakin anna? And the other one.
So if you say, yeah, so that's a good point. So if you have lakin with a sukun, then you say ana, right?
Anna. yeah.
But any of these, anna, lakinna, la'alla, later, when the mubtada is a pronoun, if the mubtada is ana mujtahidun, I would say annani mujtahidun, lakinnani mujtahidun, la'allani mujtahidun, laytani mujtahidun. But with lakin, it's ana. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Good. All right. So we've got the feminine example here. We've got the pronoun examples. Innahu mujtahidun, innaha mujtahidun. Good. And then we could have a demonstrated phrase. So we can have the mushar and the musharun ilayhi. Ismul ishara. So sorry, we have mushar. So not musharun ilayhi. Ismul ishara wa musharun ilayhi. I'm thinking of mudafun and mudafun ilayhi. This is ismul ishara and the musharun ilayhi. The inna, as you can see, the effect of it will go on to the musharun ilayhi. So you say inna hadha al-kalama haqqun. Yeah, if you take this one off, then you get this. Inna hadha haqqun. So here the hadha on its own is your mubtada. Now why didn't the hadha change? It's still ending with a sukoon because the word hadha doesn't change. It's mabni. It's mabniyun ala sukoon. Let's have a look at a plural example. Inna ha'ula'i rijala. See the effect of the inna goes on to the musharun ilayhi, and then the khabar is still in default dhamma. Ulama'u kibarun. Now let's have a look at. Let's take these innas off for the moment. Here we've got an indefinite mubtada. Right. Let's have a look. So without the inna, you have fil madrasati tali. What the ending be? Tali. Talibun. Good. Say again. Tali. Bun. Good. Fil madrasati talibun. So we did that indefinite mubtada example earlier on today. As a quick recap. Fil madrasati talibatun. Right. Now the important point here is these two words are your indefinite mubtada, not your khabar. Note bene. Not your khabar. So when inna is introduced to the sentence, remember inna has to make the mubtada go up. So what inna does is the effect of the inna will go all the way there, and you say inna fil madrasati taliban. Yep. So if somebody says to you, hal fil bayti aklun, afil bayti aklun, is there food in the house? And you'd say, indeed there is food in the house. How do you say that? Inna
fil bayti aklan.
Inna fil bayti aklan. Good. Right? Now let's have a look. If you were to think of the khabar in those sentences, it would be inna mawjudun fil madrasati taliban, inna mawjudatun fil madrasati talibatan. Yeah. Now, in those situations, because you've introduced the inna here, and you're no longer beginning with an indefinite mubtada, guess what Arabic will allow you to do?
You can move
It allows you to bring this indefinite mubtada here. So you're allowed to say inna taliban fil madrasati. Inna taliban fil madrasati. Inna talibatan fil madrasati. That is permitted because now you're beginning with a nice strong particle, which is inna. And now this is another situation where Arabic allows you to have an indefinite mubtada even before the shibul jumla, which is when the sentence is introduced with inna. Okay?
Because it's not a mubtada, it's a ismu inna.
Good. All right. Yeah, we've renamed it ismu inna, but the point I'm making structurally, syntactically, you can still put the indefinite ismu inna here, as you've rightly pointed out, because it's no longer a mubtada on its own. It's in a compound with the inna. It's a ismu inna. Okay. Good.
Ustad, if you change that inna to an anna, would I say ismu anna or do I still say ismu inna?
You say ismu anna.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's have a look at what happens to sentences where the khabar is definite. You have inna rajula huwa al-alimu. All right. Now in that situation, because you've now got inna, you're not going to get the ambiguity anymore if you take the huwa away. So if you say inna rajula al-alimu, inna rajula al-alimu, the man is the scholar. Can you see? You can't mistake this as an adjective of that because they disagree. The endings are different. Okay, so how would you say without inna, the intelligent person is the well-mannered person? In Arabic, remember, they don't use the word person, they'll just have two words. Oh, actually, let's go back one step by step. The intelligent one, how do you say that?
Al-aqilu.
Al-aqilu. Okay, so we're going to provide some wisdom in today's class. Al-aqilu. And then what's the word? Let's have an indefinite khabar. Al-aqilu. Al-aqilu. Mu'addabun. Good. Is well mannered. So we're going to say mu'addabun. Mu'addabun. There we are. All right. Al-aqilu mu'addabun. Now, let's make this khabar definite. So if I say al-aqilu al-mu'addabu, can al-mu'addabu be mistaken for an adjective? Could that mean the well-mannered, intelligent person?
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly, right? So we have a bit of a problem. So what would we do in between in normal circumstances?
Huwa.
Good. We'll bring this huwa and we'll put that huwa there. Al-aqilu huwa al-mu'addabu, right? Now, if I put an inna here, do I need the huwa anymore? So now I would say innal aqil. Innal aqila al-mu'adda. Boo. Good. I don't need the huwa anymore because the two disagree now. There's no confusion. Innal aqila al-mu'addabu.
So would you to differentiate an adjective noun from a noun sentence, is that why we would introduce inna, simply to take away the huwa?
No. The inna isn't there simply to take away the huwa. The inna is here for rhetorical effect. Inna is an emphatic particle.
Okay, but if we didn't have that, how would we differentiate an adjective noun from just a noun sentence?
We would do it with the huwa.
So you'd have to bring that back.
Yes, unless there's some other context which tells the listener that this is the khabar. For now, without any context, we're just going to use
Are
the
you still
huwa.
there at start? You've frozen.
Say again?
I can't hear anything.
Oh, did I freeze?
I can see you.
You're okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right. So what I was saying is, unless there's another context which allows the listener to know that this is not an adjective, it's a khabar, I would need to put the huwa in to remove the ambiguity. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Inna al-alima huwa al-fahimu. Inna al-alima al-fahimu. Here we have inni ana Allahu. This is very interesting. I think we came across this last time as well. Here we have inni. So the first ism inna is this ya. Yeah. And then you've got another noun sentence, which together is the khabar of that first sentence. So indeed I, what am I? I am Allah. Yeah. So the I is repeated twice. And you've got a kind of Russian doll sentence structure where this noun sentence is ensconced inside this noun sentence. Okay? We're going to look at a lot more Quranic examples in a bit when you do the Quran quiz. Right, let's now transport the noun sentence to the past using kana. I love kana. It's my time machine. See how advanced the Arabs were in prehistoric times, or pre whatever times. Long time ago, they had time machines. And the time machine in Arabic is kana. And what kana does, because kana transports the khabar into the past. If you think about the meaning, if I say the boy is happy and the boy was happy, which word was transported to the past in that was happy?
Happiness?
Happy.
The happy, yeah, the adjective, the khabar. Happy was transported to the past. And so think of kana, because it transports the khabar, it affects the khabar, whereas inna, it emphasizes the mubtada. Inna emphasizes this word. Yeah. Indeed, the scholar. Yeah, emphasizing this one. Whereas kana emphasizes or transports the khabar, so the khabar now will go up. So we look at some examples. Kana talibu mujtahidan. The student was mujtahidan. The mujtahidan goes up. Kanat talibatu mujtahidatan. Now, in the same way, the grammarians rename this ismu kana and this khabaru kana. Yeah, because this happens in the past. I had a friend who used to joke with people when he used to threaten them. He used to say, "Sa'aj'aluka fi khabari kana." I will make you history. Some people in English say, "I'll make you history." He say, use grammar. "Sa'aj'aluka fi khabari kana." I will make you in the khabar of kana, meaning the past. All right. So, khabar of kana is in the past, goes up. And of course, you can have the khabar with the mubtada or the ism kana here. Where's the ism kana in this sentence?
It's hidden in the verb.
Good. And if it were to come out, it would be the pronoun
What?
huwa. Good. So if I just have the sentence huwa mujtahi dun, good. When you transport that to the past, the huwa gets ensconced into the kana, and you just say kana mujtahi dan. He was hardworking. Kanat mujtahida tan. Okay. Let's combine. Please, if you have some background noise, please put yourself on mute so that we don't get disturbed. Thank you very much. All right. We're now going to combine inna and kana. So we've got if you put inna before the subject, you say inna taliba kana mujtahidan. You can combine the two. You combine the two with the pronoun. Innahu kana mujtahidan, innaha kanat mujtahidatan. This is so easy because you know all of this stuff. I'm just literally telling you what you already know. Okay. Now, remember was this the mubtada or the khabar of the sentence? Fil madrasati talibun.
It's the mubtada.
Mubtada, good. So is kana going to affect that?
No.
No, good. So you say kana fil madrasati talibun. This doesn't change. Okay? And the same thing happens when you say yujadu. So yujadu fil madrasati talibun. There is in the school a student, because yujadu talibun is your sentence. Okay? So just for your note, when you have kana or yujadu or any sentence where you have a shibul jumla. So instead of the fil madrasati, you could have another shibul jumla like indi. That's also a shibul jumla, remember? So you could say indi talibun, or yujadu indi talibun, or kana indi talibun. This talibun is going to stay the same in all of those different sentences. Okay, with yujadu indi or with kana, this one stays talibun. So how do you say, I have a guest? Just I have a guest using indi.
Indi
ضيوف.
Good. Singular, indi ضيف. Indi ضيف. Good. There is a guest. يوجد ضيف. Good. There was a guest. كان ضيف. Good. You stick to default ضمة. عندي ضيف. يوجد ضيف. كان ضيف. عندي ضيف في البيت. يوجد ضيف في البيت. كان ضيف في البيت. Okay, so let me just put this word up here.
So you can move it again, like you could move it with inna.
Say again.
You can do kana ضيف and then the shibu jumla.
Absolutely. كان ضيف في المدرسة. So there's no requirement that shibul jumla has to be here. So this word means a magician or a wizard or a witch. A witch would be feminine. Sahiratun. Right. So how would you say there was a witch?
كانت
Once upon a time. Good. Once upon a time. يوما ذات يوم. That's how you say once upon a time. ذات يوم كانت ساحرة في الغابة. Once upon a time, there was a witch in the forest. Yeah, you see this a lot in fairy tales. كانت ساحرة. كان عجوز. ما معنى عجوز؟
Old.
Yeah, an old person, a hag. Once upon a time, there was an evil hag. So the beginning of fairy tales. ذات يوم كان عجوز في المدينة أو في
So it's
القرية.
always an old lady. What's an old man?
Yes, عجوز is masculine, but this form عجوز can be masculine or feminine. Yeah, we're going to come to that in a bit. In fact, it's just below. Anyway, so the form فعول can be used for masculine or feminine. All right. Although in some modern Arabic they say عجوزة, which in classical Arabic I think is incorrect. It should be just عجوز even for the feminine. All right. Now, so effectively when you're saying كان في المدرسة طالب, the khabar is موجود. Because the khabar is hidden, you don't see it going up. So you say كان طالب موجودا في المدرسة. That's effectively what you're saying. Now, a lot of people get very confused with kana. So I've got this little table here which will help us get it right. So when you're saying the boy was a student, you say kana al-waladu taliban, right? When you're saying there was a student in the school, you say kana talibun fil madrasati. Okay. Now when you take these two off, what's left? Kana taliban, he was a student. Kana talibun, there was a student. Okay, some people get this the wrong way around, especially this one. When they would say there was a student, they'll say kana taliban. It's a very common mistake. So let me test you. Let's do a quick quiz. He was a teacher.
أنا
أنا مدرس.
Good. Kana ustadan. I'm going to take this off now. Let's see if you can do it without the table in front of you. Kana ustadan. There was a lesson yesterday.
كان
درس
درس
أمسي.
كان درس أمسي. It was a lesson.
كان
درسا.
Good.
كان
كان
درسا.
درسان. أن كان درسا. It was a lesson. كان درس. It was a beautiful lesson.
كان درسا
درسا
جميلا.
جميلا.
كان درسا جميلا. Good. There was a beautiful lesson.
كان
كان
درسا
درس
جميلا.
جميل.
كان درس جميل. You got it. Okay. It was a beautiful day.
كان يوم
كان يوم
جميل.
جميل.
جميلا. جميلا.
أو جميل.
I had
يوم
someone say كان
جميل.
يوم. It was. Now the it is your subject. Then you've got the was, and then your yawm is the khabar, so it's going to go up.
نعم.
It was a day. That's what you're saying. It was a day. So كان يوما
من.
جميلا. There was a beautiful day last year.
كان
كان
يوم
يوم
جميل.
جميل.
الماضي.
كان يوم جميل في السنة الماضية. There was a beautiful day last year. Does that make sense? It was a difficult question.
كان سؤال
كان
سؤالا
سؤالا
صعبا.
صعبا.
كان سؤالا صعبا. There was a difficult question in the exam.
كان
سؤالا
سؤالا صعب
صعبا
في
في
الامتحان.
الامتحان.
Good. I've still heard somebody say كان سؤالا there. You see why people find it hard. Right? You've got to get your head around this. This is a head twister. All right. Let's do another one. It was a long visit.
كانت زيارة
طويلة.
طويلة.
كانت زيارة طويلة. There was a long visit from the police.
كانت
زيارة طويلة
طويلة من
الشرطة. كانت زيارة طويلة من الشرطة. All right. So you've got to get your head around this. So every time you think of it was something, the khabar is going to go up. There was something, your indefinite ism kana will stay in default. Make sense?
Mm.
Any questions on that? Okay.
Ustad, you said when there was something, you said the ism kana.
Yes, so this one is the mubtada, right? When kana comes along, it's not called mubtada anymore. It's called the ismu kana. Let me go up and show you in the grammatical notes. Yeah. We call it kana and khabaru kana.
So kana darsun jamilun, there was a beautiful lesson, that's now the ismu kana, or it was the, like
It was a
subject.
It was an indefinite mubtada at some point. But now it's become the indefinite ism kana. Okay? So you say kana, let's go back to this. Kana talibun, or kana darsun. There was a lesson. Kana darsun. That's your indefinite mubtada. Your khabar is kana darsun mawju. Finish it.
Mawjudun. Oh yeah, mawjudan. Yeah.
And, yeah.
Mawjudan.
Yeah, because the khabar goes up, right? That's your khabar. That's your indefinite mubtada. Kana dars talibun mawjudan.
So
No.
talibun in English, could we say is the subject?
It's the subject. Good. It's a student was present. Yeah. So
Subject.
this is now doing the action of kana. The ism kana is the doer of kana.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
In
makes
English
sense.
we would call it the subject. Absolutely.
Awesome.
And remember, kana is also a verb. Yeah. Kana is not just a time machine. So in English we'd think of this as the doer of the verb kana, to be. All right. Make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
In fact, whenever you have this situation, so in this situation, you have kana al-waladu taliban. This is the normal use of kana as a tense creator. Yeah, so kana is transporting this noun sentence into the past. In this example, kana is a tense creator. Kana transports al-waladu talibun into the past. Whereas here, kana isn't really a tense creator. Kana is actually doing the job of a verb. This boy, this student, is being. He was. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
A student was. So here, kana is actually a full verb. It's got an action to do, which is to let the boy exist. Make sense? Whereas here, the boy already exists. Al-waladu talibun. The boy is a student. Kana just makes that in the past. So here, kana is a tense creator. And here we would think of kana as a tense creator. I'm going into sort of linguistics. Tense creator or an augs. I don't know how to spell it. How to spell auxiliary? Auxiliary. Is that right? Is there a H in there?
No, there's no H.
No, right. Okay. So kana there is a tense creator or an auxiliary verb. I don't know what that means. Auxiliary just meaning it's there to help create tense. It's not the main sort of part of the sentence. The main sentence is al-waladu talibun. Whereas here, kana is quite important in the sentence. It's the student was, yeah, and was is a verb here. It's now in Arabic we call this kana it's actually called a full verb. Fi'lun tam, we say in Arabic. Yeah, it's a full verb doing the action of letting the boy exist. The boy existed. The boy was. That's your sentence. A boy rather. A boy was. And there's no khabar. Because once you say a boy was, you've already produced the meaning of mawjood, haven't you? If I say a boy was, do I need to say present anymore?
No.
No. So this mawjood here is unnecessary, it's superfluous. So we don't really need it. So whenever the khabar of kana is mawjood, then kana there is a full verb. I'm going to advanced grammar. You probably wonder why on earth am I saying this? But in advanced grammatical texts, you'll come across this differentiation between that kana and this one. And don't try to get your head around what we mean by all of this. Just focus on getting the endings right. So let's test you again. Have a little break. I'll ask you a few more questions. It was a book.
كان
كان
كتابا.
كتاباً.
كتابا.
It was a short book.
كان
كان
كتابا.
كتابا
كتابا قصيرا.
Good.
قصيرا.
There was a short book. A short book
كان-
was.
كان
كان
كتاب
كتاب قصير.
قصير.
Qasirun. Good. So when you're saying there was a short book, you're effectively just saying a short book was. That's it. It existed. Was. Does that make sense? In that situation, kana is a full verb. It's got the full verbal ego inside it. Yeah, because the grammarians, Arab grammarians, they call this one a deficient verb. This kana, they call it if'al naqis. Naqis meaning deficient. Deficient verb. It's deficient in meaning because it's not really doing an action. There's no, the kana here is not doing any action. This boy isn't using kana to exist. He already exists. Kind of just transporting him to the past. It's a time machine. Okay. Let's have a look at Laysa. Laysa is a sister of Kana. I once went to the length of creating an English name for all of the sisters of Kana. So Laysa was Lisa, and I had Madama, which is another sister, called her sister Madame, and we have Bata, sister Betty, and I just created a whole list of sisters of Kana with their English names. And I once had a student who contacted me several years after doing the course, saying, "Can you remind me of all those sisters, the names of all the sisters of Kana in English?" And I said, "Do you remember what they do?" He said, "No, I just want to know the names." He didn't remember any of the grammar. He was just curious about all of those names, Betty and Madame and Lisa. All right, so Kana has a group of sisters who can do the job of Kana grammatically, which means they make the khabar go which way?
Up.
Khabar go up.
Good. So Kana makes the khabar go up. So Laysa also makes the khabar go up. And Ma zala, la yazalu, and Ma dama, and Asbaha, Asbaha, and Sara, Sister Sarah, Sara, and Bata. Those verbs, they make the khabar go up. Okay.
Ustad, what do they mean?
They have lots of different meanings, so they don't all mean the same thing. Their semantic functions are different, but their grammatical functions are all the same. That's why they're in a sisterhood. That makes sense. So they don't all have the same meaning, but actually that's not entirely true. They all have a meaning connected with being or existing, or not being or not existing, or almost being or hardly being. So kada yakadu. Yeah, we said kittu amutu. What does kittu amutu mean?
I
Almost
Almost.
died.
Almost died. Akadu amutu min al-ju'i.
Almost died of hunger.
Almost died of
Loss.
I'm almost dying of thirst, Mumtaz, or of hunger. Amazing when you remember how the word thirst, you feel thirsty. Now, so these words are all about being or not being, or hardly being, or almost being. So various types of being meanings, or becoming. Asbaha, Sara, and Bata have a meaning of becoming. All of those meanings are connected with Kana in meaning. That's why they can do the job of Kana, you see?
Ustad, how do we write Sara and Bata?
Yeah, we haven't done so.
Okay, you want to know some of the other sisters then? So you have Sara Yasiru. So when I put a kasra here, that means that imperfect is Yasiru. Then you have Bata. Bata is not very commonly used. Yeah, these words also have meanings, or like original meanings, that are not sisters of Kana. So Bata yabitu means to spend the night, from which you have the word bait. Ma ma'na bait?
House.
Bait means house, yeah. And the form 2 of Bata, bayyata yubayyitu, means to conspire during the night. This word is actually in the Qur'an, yeah. So bayyata yubayyitu means to make a conspiracy, make a plan, to stay up at night and make a plan. Sara yasiru means to become. It has the same meaning as asbaha. Yeah. And the word asbaha, like asbahna wa asbaha al-mulku lillah. Ma ma'na asbahna?
Become.
No,
Also
asbahna
enter
wa
the
asbaha
morning.
al-mulku
In
lillah.
the morning.
We enter the
It
morning.
means to enter the morning.
Enter morning.
Good.
Yeah.
So asbaha yusbihu from the root sabah. Asbaha means to make the morning, literally. Yeah. How in English we say, oh, I made it to the morning. Yeah, it's a bit like that. Asbaha means to make it to the morning, to enter the morning. Asbaha yusbihu. That is not a sister of kana, because that means that's an action. That in and of itself is an action, to enter the morning, right? But when we use asbaha to mean to become, with that meaning, it's a sister of kana. So asbaha has two separate existences, almost like there's two separate words. All right. So when bata means to spend the night, if I say bata Muhammadun fi bayti Ahmada, is that a sister of kana there? Muhammad spent the
No.
night in Ahmad's house.
No, it's
Bata
using
a sister of kana?
No, it's nothing to do with being.
It's nothing to do with being. It's about spending the night. It's an action, right?
That's a verb.
Yeah, it's an action, so it's just a normal verb. Whereas if I say bata al-imtihanu qariban, the exam has become close. Bata al-imtihanu qariban. Do you think that bata is a sister of kana?
Yes.
Yes. Good. All right. So with bata, sara, and asbaha, and there's other versions. So you can say adha from duha. So adha has a similar meaning to asbaha, to enter the morning, but also to become. Adha can mean to become. Then you have amsa. What do you think amsa means?
Into the
Into the
evening.
evening.
Enter evening.
Amsayna, to enter the evening, but also it can mean to become. So in origin, to become something in the morning, to become something in the morning, to become something in the evening, yeah, to become something at night. So these are all connected with becoming at a certain time, right? But then they've taken on a new life through usage where they've become de-linked to their specific time, particularly asbaha. Asbaha nowadays is used to mean to become for anything at any time. Yeah, since adha, amsa, and bata are much less common. The two common ones are asbaha and then sara. Asbaha and sara are commonly used even in spoken Arabic. And then you have, of course, mazala. Now, mazala always comes with zala always comes with ma. Mazala imperfect is la yazalu. And these two have no tense because they mean to still be, right? And you can only still be something in what tense?
Present.
In the present, right? So both the perfect verb and the imperfect verb are going to be used in the present tense. So if I say ma ziltu ja'i'an, what does that mean?
Still hungry.
I'm still hungry. La azalu ja'i'an.
He's not.
I'm not so hungry. Still not hungry.
No. I'm still hungry. There's no negation here. This ma and this la are not negative particles. So you treat this as one compound. You can't separate the ma from the zala. You can't separate the la from the yazalu. So you say ma ziltu ja'i'an, la azalu ja'i'an. They both mean I'm still hungry.
So when would you use the, differently there? Can you use either of them?
No, they're interchangeable. This is what I'm saying. You don't use them differently. They're interchangeable. They don't have a tense because of their meaning.
What does zala mean by itself?
So by itself, there is a verb which is zala yazulu. That's not the same verb, because notice that this is zala yazalu. That is zala yazulu. Anybody know what that means?
Is it to reveal?
No, but it's close. What does zawal mean? Zawal.
Decline.
Decline. Good. What declines at the zawal?
Sunset.
The sun.
The sun. Yeah, the sun starts to when it's at the zenith, and then it starts going into its decline. It's starting to slowly, eventually disappear. Right. So zala yazulu means to disappear, to cease to exist. That's a different verb. That's an action. That's not a sister of kana. Ma zala la yazalu is a sister of kana. So beware. This is different to this, a completely different verb. Okay?
And you mentioned madama.
Good. Madama. Madama. And this has no imperfect. It's just madama. And madama means to still be. So if I say ma dumtu taliban, what does that mean?
Still
As
student.
long as I'm student.
Yeah, for as long as, good.
Yeah.
So long as, so it doesn't mean still. Ma zala means still. So this one, ma dama means so long as. Okay, so if I say akunu akhaka ma dumtu hayyan.
I
will be your brother as long as I live.
as long as I'm
As long as I live, yeah, for as long as I live. So long as I live. I will be your brother so long as I live. Ma sa'akunu akhaka ma dumtu hayyan. Good. I think that's enough sisters of Kana, right? Is that enough?
Yes.
Can you transport mazala to the past using kana? Like, can you say kuntu?
He was still. Kana la yazalu. Yeah, but then you would use kana la yazalu. Kana ma zala. Can you say ma kana? I would just use la yazalu. It just sounds a bit better. Kana la yazalu taliban. He was still a student. Yeah?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Laysa is sister of kana. So you're going to say ism laysa and khabaru laysa. Same thing with these. You say ism sara, ism asbaha, khabar asbaha, ismu ma zala, khabaru ma zala, and so on. So we have here laysat at-talibatu kasulan, laysa kasulan. So you see the masculine and feminine of this form, kasul, is the same. Yeah? Do you know any other words of this form? Some of Allah's names and attributes are like this. You think of any? Ghafurun, good. So the word ghafurun, shakurun, saburun. Yeah? So those are of this form, kasulun. So kasulun means lazy. Kana kasulan, he was lazy. So if I say kana kasulan, what does that mean?
He was lazy.
Kana kasulun fil madrasati.
There was a
lazy student in school.
There was a lazy one in the school. There was a lazy bones.
Ustad, in that case, does that mean this form is another type of active participle?
So there's something in Arabic called sighatul mubalagha.
No.
Sighatul mubalagha. Mubalagha means exaggeration. We're going to do this in balagha. Mubalagha. Sometimes you exaggerate something for rhetorical effect. Yeah? So when somebody says, oh, he skinned him alive, what does that mean?
To be harsh to someone.
Say again?
To be harsh to someone.
So somebody had a fight with somebody, a boxing match, and you say, oh, he skinned him alive. What does that mean? He defeated him. Yeah?
Almost.
He didn't actually
badly.
He
just defeated him badly. It was a bad defeat. You say skinned him alive. Yeah. So this is exaggerated. In English we call it hyperbole. Yeah. So you might call this a hyperbolic active participle. It's an intensified. So the active participle, the ismul fa'ili from kasala would be kasilun, wouldn't it? Yeah. I've never heard anybody use kasilun. what we use is kasulun, or, so that's never used. We use kasul. Kasul just means very lazy, yeah, or kaslanu. Kaslanu, this form, is also an intensified active participle. This form is like my name, Salmanu, right? So my name Salmanu is just an intensive form of Salimun. Does that make sense? Or Salimun. Another intensive form is Salimun, yeah, or Fa'ilun. That's an intensive active participle form. So instead of saying Kabirun for big, what do we say? Kabirun. Yeah. So that's one of those forms. So there's I think there's 5 or 6 of these in Arabic. One of them is Kasulun form. There's Kaslanu. Now with this one, the feminine is not Kaslanatun. It's Kasla. A girl who's lazy or very lazy is not Kaslana, it's Kasla. Just like, the easy way to remember this is think of my name, which is what? Salmanu. And a girl with the same name is Salma, right?
Salma.
So you have Salmanu. Salmanu, feminine. Salma. There we are. So Salmanu is like Kaslanu, feminine, Salma, Kasla. All right, let's move on. As we can see here, Laysa fil madrasati talibun. There is no student in the school. Talibun stays indefinite and default. Yeah, because the khabar would be mawjudan. Remember that? Okay, so we're done with kana and laysa and inna. We're now going to look at harful istifham, the particles of interrogation, interrogative particles. So if I say, for example, al-bahru ba'idun, the sea is far, to turn it into a question, I could just sort of italicize it with my voice and say, al-bahru ba'idun. It's that inflection that turns the statement into a question. You don't have to change the word order. Same thing here, huwa haqqun, or just haqqun. Sometimes we don't say the mubtada, we just say the khabar. Haqqun, true. Yeah, we don't say it is it true? We just say true, meaning is it true? If you want to indicate in writing or with a specific word that you're asking a question, you can use these two particles, and they're called harful istifhami. So we've got halil bahru ba'idun. The hal becomes hali because of a liaison vowel, because there's no vowel here. So it's a halil bahru ba'idun. Ahwa haqqun. Halil bahru ba'idun. Ahwa haqqun. Akana sahihan. Was it true? Afil madrasati talibun. Akana fil madrasati talibun. أنتم الأولاد لا نحن الرجال, and so on. Now, when you put this hamza, this before the definite, before a hamzatul wasl, for example, before the al, then you get this al-bahru. So you drop this alif, and then you get so because you've got a hamza plus an alif, the two assimilate, and you just get a mad. You say al-bahru ba'idun, is the sea far. Okay, for example, and then when you have a hamzatul wasl like this on the word ismun, you simply just drop the hamzatul wasl and you say asmuka hasanun. Asmuka. Does that make sense? Okay, so another word that has hamzatul wasl is ibnun. So how to say, is your son Hassan?
Ibnuka.
Good. So this is normally ibnuka. We're going to get rid of that, and we just say So we say abnuka hasanun. And then with other words like ijtima'un, you say ajtima'una fil bayti. Is our meeting in the house? Ajtima'una. We lose the hamzatul wasl, and then we put the hamza after it. Now, it's quite common in Arabic to switch the mubtada and khabar, particularly in questions. So instead of saying huwa ahuwa sahihun, we say asahihun huwa. There are lots of other different reasons why we switch. One of them being what? What happens when you switch the mubtada and the khabar rhetorically?
Exclusivity.
Exclusivity. So if I say mamnu'un at-tadkhinu, instead of saying at-tadkhinu mamnu'un, smoking is prohibited. If I say mamnu'un at-tadkhinu, what does that mean?
Smoking is only prohibited, nothing but.
No
Or
smoking.
is it only smoking is prohibited?
Not only smoking is only prohibited, meaning it cannot be allowed. Yeah. Smoking is only prohibited. It's not, doesn't mean only smoking is prohibited, because that would mean taking drugs is allowed, right? You see, so you can't mean only smoking. It means smoking is only prohibited, meaning it cannot be not prohibited. Yeah. So that's one reason. Another reason is to give rhetorical impact in the question. Ahuwa sahihun or asahihun huwa, ahaqqun huwa, is it true? Okay, negative imperatives. If we ask, if we use laysa, you can't say hal. So you don't say hal laysa hasanun taliban. You say alaysa hasanun taliban. Good. And when you answer, if you say na'am, be careful. That means yes, he's not a student. It confirms the negation. To confirm that he is a student, you have to say
bala.
Bala. He is a student. Alaysa hasanun taliban, you say bala. If I say alasta sadiqi, are you not my friend? If you say na'am, are you my friend?
No. No.
No. Yeah, you have to say bala. Be careful, you can lose your friendships with this one.
Do they use bala as often, or do they just say na'am anyway? Does people use bala in that way?
In Ammiya, they don't really. And sometimes when sometimes people ham up the bala. They think that when you're speaking Fusha, you have to replace all the na'ams with bala. So people just use bala for all na'ams in Fusha when they're trying to speak Fusha, which is also incorrect. It's overused. Yeah. I had a friend who kept saying per for ber. And I kept saying ber for per, as the Arabs do. Yeah. So they would say the police, yeah, instead of the police. So I kept telling him no, and it's per. So he started turning now all the birds back into pers. So he said to me, Salman, this is a pig problem. Interesting, this is a big problem. He said, Salman, we have a pig problem. I was thinking, what pig problem can you have? And I realized he's overcompensating and turning all of the birds back into pers. All right, this is actually a really useful summary of everything we've done in this chapter. Every single structure we've done is here, all on one page for you to keep for yourself, learn. Right, that brings us to the end. Let's stop my share and go over to, any questions before we go over to the Quran quiz? No?
Is Rasulun in the same form as Kasulun?
Yes, exactly. Well done. So Rasulun is the same form as Kasulun.
Ustad, is that the only place where you can't use hal and interchangeably?
There's a bit more than that, a bit more detail. So the hal and the have a very subtle difference in the nuance of their meaning and when they can be used, which I don't want to go into next, going to confuse people. Yeah, but for now, let's just use that situation where you don't use hal and you have to use Right. I think we began these Quranic verses from session 3. I think we'll round up to here. Right. Aina mawqinu. Oh, what's happened here? Hold on. Let's try again. Right. Can you see my slides with my notes slides?
On the side.
Can you just see the main slide?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. وأن عذابي هو العذاب الأليم. What do we have here?
We have anna.
Good. So we've got anna and we've got عذابي. So what's the ismu anna here?
Azabun.
Azabi.
Adhabun. Good. Adhabi. And why can't it go up? Why can't adhabi there go up?
He is forcing it.
Attached pronoun.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. Yes, because there's an attached pronoun, so it can't go up. So we have huwa al-adhabul alim. What else do you see here?
Pronoun of separation.
The khabar state default.
The khabar is definite. Yeah, separated by dhamirul fasl, separated by this pronoun of separation. Good. Let's move on to the next one. So here we have قُلْ يَا عِبَادِي. So can you notice here the Quranic orthography is a bit different to normal speech or normal writing. The ya is joined up with the next word. Yeah, get this in Quranic orthography. The ya is joined up, and there's something else that's interesting here.
The ya is missing at the end.
There's the ya, the pronoun is missing. Ya ibadi. Ya ibadi. And this is an Arabic style to drop the pronoun but have the vowel on the last letter indicate that it's there. Yeah. So ya ibadi alladhina, oh, say, oh my servants who amanu, who have believed, ittaqu rabbakum, beware of your Lord, lilladhina ahsanu fi hadhihi dunya hasanatun. What do you see here?
Affirmative.
Definite mubtada.
Now,
Where's your definite mubtada?
Indefinite.
Indefinite mubtada.
Ah, indefinite, which one?
Hasanatun.
Mumtaz. So hasanatun, well done. This is not easy because there's other words distracting you. So it's lilladhina hasanatun. All right. So lilladhina is your shibhul jumla. The lam is your preposition. And hasanatun is your indefinite mubtada right here at the end. And this ahsanu fi hadhi dunya, this whole sentence, is your subordinate clause that's introduced by the alladhina. Does that make sense?
Would you say the subordinate clause doesn't include the alladhina then?
That's right. So this sentence is the subordinate clause, and alladhina is a bit like in English we call it a relative pronoun. I think that's the word they use for it, a relative pronoun. A bit like a pronoun. It's more of a noun that introduces the subordinate clause. Okay? We've got something here. Fi hadhihi dunya. Remember the word dunya? What type of noun is it? Maqsoor. Good. It's a maqsoor word. Here, obviously, this alif is not an alif maqsoor, it's an alif mamduda. But generically, we call any word that ends with an alif a maqsoor word. Good. Wa ardullahi wasi'atun. What do we have here?
Idafa.
Good. So,
with the default color.
Good. So what sentence structure do we have? Wa ardullahi wasi'atun.
Nonsense.
Noun sentence. Where's the mubtada? Which word is the mubtada?
Ardullahi.
Mubtada. Who said wasi'a? Which word is the mubtada? No, wasi'atun is your khabar.
Allah.
It's the earth of Allah is wasi'atun. So the mubtada must be ardu. Yeah. The sentence is al-ardu wasi'atun. That's your simple noun sentence. Al-ardu wasi'atun. This word must be your mubtada, and this word must be your khabar, because something is something.
We can't see your mouses unless, or maybe.
Oh, you can't see my mouse.
Yeah.
I don't know why my slideshow today looks a bit different. Let me stop share again and try again. Hold on. Why is it doing this? Why is it doing this to me? Okay, try again. Right, can you see my PowerPoint? Can you all see my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yes? And then
Yes.
let me do, actually, is it better like this without the slideshow?
Sure.
Is it bigger?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
That should be okay.
I think I can make it bigger without the slideshow. So can you see my mouse now?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, okay, let's just do it like this. So we have here, وَأَرْضُ اللَّهِ وَاسِعَةٌ, and the earth of Allah is wide. Okay, so remember the mubtada is always the subject, the main word of the sentence, and wasi'atun is your khabar. All right, so this word cannot be the mubtada. All right, let's go to the next one. Here we have وَإِن كَذَّبُوكَ. What does in mean?
If.
If, good.
If.
In كَذَّبُوكَ, كَذَّبَ means to, literally it means to call somebody a liar or make somebody a liar. وَإِن كَذَّبُوكَ, and if they consider you to be a liar, i.e. disbelieve you, and if they disbelieve you, فَقُلْ, say, لِي عَمَلِي وَلَكُمْ عَمَلُكُمْ. ماذا ترون يا طلابي? What do you see?
For me, my work is one
Jumla.
noun sentence.
Which
and
one?
for you, your work is another noun sentence.
Yeah, what type?
There's a shibul jumla and then
the mubtada. Which word is the mubtada then? Let's identify the mubtada.
amalun.
Amali, good. Amali or amalun is your mubtada, and li is the shibul jumla. This is not an indefinite mubtada because it's an idafa, yeah? Amali. And then walakum amalukum. Amalu here is your mubtada, and this is your shibul jumla. Your khabar is mawjudun, right? In both of them. Right. Antum bari'una wa ana bari'un. Antum bari'una wa ana bari'un. Simple.
Noun sentence.
Noun sentence is pronoun and khabar. Pronoun and khabar. Right, let's go to the next one. وَنَادَى نُوحٌ. نَادَى يُنَادِي بمعنى to call out.
Call.
So نَادَى نُوحٌ. Nuh called رَبَّهُ, his Lord. فَقَالَ, he said رَبِّي. Can you see the ya's gone again? And so رَبِّي, we drop the ya. رَبِّي إِنَّ ابْنِي مِنْ أَهْلِي. إِنَّ ابْنِي مِنْ أَهْلِي. All right, what type of sentence do we have there? Good, so we've got a jumla ismiya introduced by inna. So where's the ismu inna then?
Ibni.
Ibni.
Ibni, good. Ibni is good. So why doesn't it have a fatha on it?
It's a
pronoun.
Because of this, yeah, the pronoun is forcing it to have a kasra. Good. So where's the khabar then? Inna ibni min ahli. Where's the khabar?
Mawjood and
somewhere. Good. The khabar is elliptical. It's hidden in here, which would be mawjoodun or hadirun or ka'inun. Yeah. And then min ahli is shibul jumla muta'alliqun bi khabarin mahzufin. This is a shibul jumla, a prepositional phrase attached to an omitted khabar. Yeah, we call it a khabarun mahzufun. All right. Wa inna wa'daka al-haqqu. Do we have here?
Another jumla ismiya.
Jumla
ismiya. Aina al-mubtada?
وعدك.
Inna wa'da.
وعدك وأين الخبر؟
الحق.
الحق نعم. وهل الخبر نكرة أم معرفة؟
معرفة.
Good. So the khabar is معرفة. You see? So we don't, here there's no confusion. إن وعدك الحق. Whereas if you just said وعدك الحق, could this be an adjective of وعدك?
No.
Your true promise. Yeah. So if you said wa'duka al-haqqu, but now because of the inna, you go inna wa'daka al-haqqu. Definitely, this is your khabar. Wa anta ahkamul hakimin. Again, jumla ismiya. Anta mubtada, ahkamu khabar. Right. Let's go look at this. Okay. Inna waliyallahu.
مبتدا
Nominal sentence.
Good. Jumla ismiya. Let's say jumlatun ismiyatun. Everybody say jumlatun ismiyatun.
جملة
جملة
اسمية.
اسمية.
جملة اسمية.
هنا جملة اسمية.
هنا جملة اسمية.
جميل. أين المبتدأ؟
إن ولي الله
ولي الله.
أين المبتدأ؟
في ولي.
Wali. Good. If I say where's the mubtada, you don't give me the whole sentence because this whole sentence has the mubtada and the khabar. No? So the mubtada is wali. Wali. Notice when you have this ya, the first person pronoun, sometimes we put a fatha on it. So that's also permissible in Arabic. So you can say Rabbi or Rabbiya. Rabbi, Rabbiya. Okay. So inna waliya, this fatha is just an additional flourish. Inna waliya Allahu. Allahu is your definite khabar. Right? الذي نزل الكتاب, subordinate clause, وهو يتولى الصالحين. ماذا عندنا هنا؟
جملة اسمية.
جملة اسمية. أين المبتدأ؟
attached pronoun يتولى.
يتولى is your مبتدأ.
I think it's for وهو.
هو.
So good. هو is your مبتدأ. He.
ما معنى يتولى؟
يتولى means to take up a responsibility. Or it can also mean to turn away. مثلا عبس وتولى. He frowned and he turned away. Right? And يتولى can also mean to become wali of somebody, which is to take up responsibility for them. So here, this is the meaning. وهو يتولى الصالحين. He takes up the responsibility of being the wali, the guardian of the righteous.
So what does the rest of the ayah mean?
Which rest of the ayah?
Inna waliyun, the rest of it.
Inna waliyi, indeed, my wali, my guardian, is Allah. Alladhi nazzala al-kitaba, who sent down the book. Wa huwa yatawalla as-salihin, and he takes up guardianship of the righteous. So if huwa is a mubtada, ayna al-khabaru?
صالحين.
يتولى.
Good. The meaning it always tells you he is taking up. He is literally he is taking up responsibility. So yatawalla is the attribute that's being referred to the huwa. So the verb is here the khabar. In this situation, the khabar is a verb. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if I say, for example, Muhammadun yadrusu. Muhammad is studying. So yadrusu there in that sentence is your khabar. So sometimes your khabar can be a verb.
So Ustad, can I ask a question? يتولى الصالحين, is the whole thing not khabar?
Not really. It's the verb, which is the khabar. Now that verb has an object here. This as-salihina is your maf'ulun bihi of that verb. But your sentence, as you can see, is just complete with wa huwa yatawalla. You don't need as-salihina to complete a sentence. So grammatically speaking, we just say this is a mubtada, this is a khabar, and Actually, you could say the whole sentence is acting as the khabar.
Ustaz,
But can you see this as-salihina is not essential for this sentence. وَهُوَ يَتَوَلَّى, full stop. You've got a complete sentence. No.
Ustaz, the ya in yatawalla, does that refer to the Allah Azza wa Jal, or does it refer to third person plural?
Which ya?
The yatawalla.
The ya at the beginning.
Yes.
So that ya is the ya of the imperfect masculine singular, like ذهب يذهب.
This is for huwa, so it has to be singular, doesn't it?
Yeah, so masculine singular.
So the meaning of this is, so if we say yatawalla as-salihin, upon who the salihin they depend or rely?
No, we didn't translate it as the,
okay, sorry. So you mentioned that
he takes responsibility. The person doing this action is huwa.
Okay, makes sense.
He takes responsibility of the righteous. As-salihin here is the object of the verb yatawalla.
So hence why the word, the attached pronoun, the ya in yatawalla, is it not sufficient to make it a jumla ismiya without the huwa?
Would no longer be a jumla ismiya.
There's no attached pronoun.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. So jumla ismiya is a sentence which begins with a noun. If a sentence begins with a verb, this is called in Arabic a jumla fi'liya. So if you had no huwa there, you just had yatawalla as-salihina, then you got a verb, and the subject of the verb is the pronoun inside it, which is huwa, and then the object is as-salihina. That is a verb sentence. We're going to do that next week. Okay. Right. Okay. Qala kalla. He said, nay, inna ma'iya rabbi sayahdeen. Inna ma'iya rabbi.
جملة اسمية.
جملة اسمية. أين المبتدأ? Where's the مبتدأ?
ربي.
Good. Rabbi. Did somebody say ma'i? Did you say ma'i is the mubtada? Who said ma'i?
No, I was saying ma'iya rabbi.
Okay.
ma'i shibh jumla.
Shibh jumla, right? And rabbi is your mubtada. Where's your khabar?
He's present with me.
Rabbi, my Lord is present with me. So what's the khabar then?
Ma'i.
No, mawjudun.
Remember, the shibh jumla can't be the khabar. Remember that?
Mawjudun is present.
Good. So Maymoon gave you the answer. He said, my Lord is present. What's the word for present?
موجودٌ.
Mawjudun. Yes. Rabbi mawjudun ma'i. That's your sentence. All right?
And sayahdeen, what does that mean?
That's just another sentence. My Lord is present with me. He shall guide me.
That's a verb.
This is a verb sentence. Yes. Sayahdeen. This is a separate sentence. Sayahdeen. That ya again is dropped. Can you see? The ya was dropped in the previous sentence. So you got not in this one.
I think the one before that.
This one. Yeah, Rabbi. Yeah. Good. And then it's dropped in.
That's so interesting. I didn't know that they could drop the ya like that to the attached pronouns like that.
We don't drop, so we drop the attached pronoun when it's me. So especially here with the verb, yahdi is the verb, the ni, that noon was introduced because we introduced an extra noon when we attached the first person ya onto a verb. Remember that?
Yeah,
so a'ti'ni, that noon. So that noon is carrying the kasra, indicating that the ya is omitted. Inna ma'iya rabbi sayahdeen. Jameel. All right, let's go to the next one. Are we? The problem with this, I've got to scroll with my mouse. Okay. فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَقُلْ. And if they, again, that verb, tawalla, see that? Now it's plural. In tawallaw, if they, this is now perfect. In tawallaw, if they turn away here. In tawallaw, faqul, say, hasbi Allahu.
Sufficient.
جملة اسمية.
Good. أين المبتدأ؟
تولوا.
Tawallu is a verb. It cannot be your mubtada.
Hasbi.
Good.
That's is it?
Guys, the meaning will lead you to the grammar. Don't try to do grammar without meaning. It's why it's really important to understand meaning before you learn grammar. And this is why we teach you meanings before grammar, right? So don't try to think technically about grammar. Just focus on the meaning. So if they turn away, say, my sufficiency is Allah. Listen, my sufficiency is Allah. The moment you got two nouns in a row, you've probably got a jumla ismiya, right? So you've got hasbi Allahu. Hasb is the mubtada. Allahu is your definite khabar. Good. Okay. You could say actually it's also switched around because the meaning makes sense the other way around. Allahu hasbi. Allah is my sufficiency. My sufficiency is Allah. Allah is my sufficiency. It works actually both ways. All right. So because it works this way, we don't have to say it's switched. All right. But if it were switched, you'd get the meaning of exclusivity, wouldn't you?
And isn't this the exclusive version that only Allah is my sufficiency?
I looked into the tafsir of this, and most of the mufassirin don't say this is switched. They just say hasbi Allahu, because we don't need to assume a switching, because it makes sense as it is.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. وَهُوَ رَبُّ الْعَرْشِ الْعَظِيمِ. Simple noun sentence. Where's the mubtada?
Rabbu. Mubtada is huwa, sorry. Huwa.
Yeah. He is the Lord of the mighty throne. Huwa Rabbun is your noun sentence jumla ismiya. Huwa Rabbun. All right. Okay. Can you see that B with the anna I talked about? Sometimes you have prepositions with anna. ذلك بأن, and that is because the بأن has similar meaning to لأن. ذلك بأن الله هو الحق.
Allahu ismu bi anna wa hu, and then there's a definite khabar.
Good. ذلك بأن الله. Which word is the mubtada or the ism in anna?
Allah.
Good. And what's the huwa?
ضمير الفصل.
ضمير الفصل. الحق
خبر is خبر بأن.
خبر معرفة. Good. A definite خبر. وأن ما يدعون من دونه الباطل. Let's see if you can get this. Where's the mubtada here?
من دونه.
It's a he in the yad'u.
Okay, Iqbal. Min is a preposition. Can a prepositional phrase be your mubtada or your khabar? No. So it's a simple answer. Min dunihi cannot be a part of the sentence. Your main sentence will be two nouns. Guys, you're looking.
Oh, okay. So
the meaning. Let me translate it for you. The meaning will tell you. And that what they call upon other than him is null.
They.
So the mubtada is ma.
It's yadu.
Okay.
It's incorporated in the verb.
Yeah.
Listen carefully. Listen carefully. And the thing they call upon is null.
The thing.
Thing. Good.
Yeah.
Which word indicates the word
Ma.
thing?
Ma.
Yes, your mubtada is the word ma. Right? That was a hard one.
Oh no.
وأن ما. So the ma is your mubtada and al-batil is your khabar. So ما الباطل, the thing is null. وأن ما يدعون من دونه الباطل وأن الله هو العلي الكبير. We've done a few of these before, and that Allah is the lofty, the great, the mighty. Right, so أين المبتدأ or اسم
الله
Allah.
الله أعلم.
Allah.
Allah is مبتدأ, هو is
ضمير الفصل
ضمير
الفصل.
الفصل, and العلي الكبير
خبر.
خبر.
خبر الأن.
good,
Ustad, what does بأن mean?
because بأن has a meaning of لأن.
Okay.
Ustad,
Right, have I come to the wrong set of slides? No, I'm fine.
Sorry, Ustad, the attached pronoun dunihi, that confused me a bit.
So min dunihi, so the duni, he is the object of the min, right? So together this is the shibul jumla, right? Okay, so the moment you see these two together, this is shibul jumla, this will be attached to either the mubtada or the khabar. All right, Rahima, tafaddali.
can you, in the first part where it says huwa, Allahu huwa, because of the anna, is the huwa just there for rhetoric or for?
Yeah, the
Then
huwa
it-
is there for rhetorical purposes. Yeah, it's not required for grammar. So you say bi anna Allah al-haqqu. That would make sense. Yes, well pointed out. Okay, let's do the next one. Okay. All right, this is the primordial question. وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ, and when your Lord said to the angels, إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ, I will create فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. All right, where's the noun sentence in there?
إني جائل.
إني is مبتدأ.
Good.
خليفة is خبر.
خليفة is your khabar?
جائل.
مبتدأ. جاعل
جاعل.
جاعل.
خبر. I am making. I am making. So جاعل is your khabar. Khalifatan, interestingly, is your object of this word جاعل. Remember I told you that the ismul fa'ili can sometimes have an object like a verb. Yeah. This is an example of it. Khalifatan is the object of جاعل.
Sorry, Ustad, what did you say ja'ilun means? I'll place.
To make.
To make.
To make,
جعل.
making.
أجعل.
Oh, ja'ala yaj'alu. Hasana.
Yeah. So
It's
ja'ilun
amazing.
means I'm a maker.
Yeah, it's
Inni
amazing how we
ja'ilun.
understand Quran now, mashallah.
Afwan?
It's amazing how we're trying to understand Quran, mashallah.
Yeah, mashallah. Yeah, many of you over the last couple of years have told us, I want to learn, how does this connect to the Quran? And now you can see everything you've learned helps you to do this, doesn't it?
No.
Yeah, inshallah. All right. قالوا أتجعل, this is the verb تجعل, will you make, they said, will you make فيها من يفسد فيها, will you make in it a one who will create corruption in it? ويسفك, and will shed الدماء, bloods, دماء is plural. ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك. Where's the noun sentence there?
نحن نسبح.
نحن.
Good. نحن is your مبتدا. نسبح, this verb is your خبر. Good. قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. Is there a noun sentence there?
إني أعلم.
Good. إني أعلم. So إني
I
is
know.
your مبتدا and أعلم, the verb أعلم, I know, is your خبر. Good. Right. Now.
Sorry, in the last slide, man yufsid. So is the word man, could this be mubtada? Like who?
If you think about it, listen to the meaning. Will you make one who spreads corruption? So man here
Okay,
is the
okay,
what?
this is the maf'ul, is it?
It's the maf'ulun bihi, it's the object of ataj'alu. Good. Good, perfect. Right. Okay. وَإِذْ قَالُوا, and when they said, Allahumma, oh Allah, إِن كَانَ هَذَا هُوَ الْحَقَّ, if this is the truth, min indika, from you.
This was the truth, isn't it? Was? Kind of.
It does literally mean this was. Good. So what do we have here that we did today?
Kana.
Kana. Good. So where's the ismu kana here?
Al-haqqa.
The ism of kana.
With this.
هذا is it?
Huwa.
This was.
This was.
Okay.
Is
Let me
it
take the kana
هذا?
away. Let me take the kana away and give you the simple noun sentence. هذا هو الحق. Which is the mubtada?
هذا
هذا. And what's the
هذا.
khabar?
حق
Al-haqqu.
Al-haqqu. And huwa in the middle is the dhamirul
Damirul fasl.
fasl. Good. So now all we've done is put kana before it. Kana هذا هو الحق.
Al-haqqa is a khabar.
Al-haqqa is the khabar and هذا is your
هذا is
mubtada or
mubtada.
ismu kana in this state, in this situation.
But is there still he with this hada?
If this is the truth.
It is.
If this is the truth.
Okay.
Yeah, oh Allah, if this is the truth from you, if this message is really true, فَأَمْطِرْ عَلَيْنَا حِجَارَةً مِنَ السَّمَاءِ, then rain upon us stones from the sky. So they were calling upon God's punishment. Yeah. Okay. إِنَّ هَذَا لَهُوَ الْفَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ.
هذا is the mubtada.
هذا is the mubtada. And what's the khabar?
What is the la for emphasis?
This lam here is for emphasis.
Okay.
This lam is called lamu tawkeed, which emphasizes the sentence. So now we've got two emphatics here, inna and la. All right, so these are both emphatics. And
What does the la mean there?
it's just an emphatic particle, indeed.
Indeed.
Indeed,
Indeed, he is. Sorry, he.
Indeed, this is. I would put another emphatic. Indeed, this is certainly the great success. Fawz means success. Okay.
فوز العظيم is a خبر.
فوز العظيم is a khabar.
Good. So al-azim was just an adjective. The khabar is just this word here, al-fawzu. Okay. So the basic sentence is هذا هو الفوز. This is the success. All right. This lam emphasizes the sentence, adds emphasis. It also specifies it for the present tense. So when you say إن هذا لهو الفوز العظيم, this indicates that the meaning is now. Okay. Whereas when Allah says إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة, this one, where is it? Yeah. إني جاعل, there's no lam on the جاعل. It's not إني لا جاعل. It's إني جاعل. This indicates future. Right? When you put the lam here, it indicates present. So here, if somebody were not rhetorically educated, they might say, let me doubly emphasize this. I'm really going to create this representative upon the earth and say, let me say إني لا جاعل. That would be incorrect. The meaning is incorrect.
So ja'ilun here is the active participle, is it?
That's right. From ja'ala. So literally it's I am a maker.
Okay, yeah.
That's what it means. Yeah. I am a maker of a representative, khalifatan. So in Arabic, instead of doing idafa, instead of saying inni ja'ilu khalifatin, you can say inni ja'ilun khalifatan. Okay. Done this one. Okay. وَجَاءَهُ قَوْمُهُ. His people came to him. يُهْرَعُونَ إِلَيْهِ وَمِنْ قَبْلُ كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ السَّيِّئَاتِ قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ هَؤُلَاءِ بَنَاتِي. And they said, and he said, oh my people, this is Lut alayhi salam, هَؤُلَاءِ بَنَاتِي هُنَّ أَطْهَرُ لَكُمْ. They are more pure for you. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُخْزُونِي. The eyes have been dropped. And don't لا تخزوني. Don't, how do you translate? أخزى يخزي.
Yeah.
Don't defile me. Don't defile me. Or don't disgrace me. Don't disgrace me. في ضيفي. with my guest, because he had the angel who was a guest. No? Assalamu alaikum, Jannah. No. أَلَيْسَ مِنْكُمْ رَجُلٌ رَشِيدٌ. Is there not among you a righteous or an upright man? So find a noun sentence in there for me.
رجل is the mubtada. رجل is the indefinite mubtada of laysa. Or
Good.
ismu laysa.
Excellent. But before that, let's go from the beginning. Can you find a noun sentence for me in there? Before that one.
What about ya qawmi haula'i banati?
Good. So أين المبتدأ?
قوم.
No, ya qawmi is just a nida. I'm just calling him.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh my people, these are my daughters. These are my daughters."
Ha'ula'i is the mubtada, and then banati is the khabar. Or banatun or whatever.
Good. Ha'ula'i banatun. This is your mubtada and khabar. Hunna atharu lakum.
Hunna is the mubtada.
They are pure.
Good. Hunna is the mubtada. Atharu is your khabar. Good. And then Maria pointed out very rightly, right at the end, Alaysa minkum rajulun. Alaysa rajulun minkum. So rajulun is your ismu.
Laysa.
Laysa. Good. And the khabar would be mawjudun, right? Sorry, would it be mawjudun or mawju?
Dan.
Dan. Good. Mawjudan. Alaysa minkum rajulun mawjudan. Yeah? Everybody get that? Good. So look at this. أولئك على هدى من ربهم.
Those upon whom the
أولئك is the mubtada.
Good. Good. Well done, Amina. أولئك is your mubtada, and where's your khabar? أولئك على هدى.
Hudan is the khabar.
Isn't it ala hudan is the prepositional phrase, isn't it?
Well done. Perfect. So that can't be your khabar. That's attached to the khabar. So where's the khabar?
موجود.
Perfect. Or mawjuduna. Make it plural. Yeah. أولئك موجودون or حاضرون or كائنون على هدى. Those are existent upon guidance. من ربهم, from their Lord. وأولئك هم المفلحون.
أولئك مبتدا هم المفلحون الdefinite
is your definite khabar. Good. And hum is your ضمير الفصل. Right. There we are. إن الله هو ربي وربكم. Straightforward. Inna Allah is your mubtada, huwa is your ضمير الفصل, and Rabbi is your khabar. هذا صراط مستقيم. هذا is your mubtada. صراط is your khabar. Let's move on. Let's go down. خلق الله السماوات والأرض بالحق. Allah created the heavens and the earth with truth. إن في ذلك لآية للمؤمنين. إن في ذلك لآية للمؤمنين.
What's the la doing? Oh, the la is the emphasis again. Okay.
What's your mubtada?
آية.
آية. Good. The في ذلك is your shibhul jumla, is your prepositional phrase. It's not part of the sentence. Your sentence is either mubtada or khabar. Everything else is outside. Yeah?
Ayatan, it goes up.
So why does ayatan go up? Because it's your mubtada and there's an inna emphasizing it. So it's inna ayatan fi dhalika. Indeed, a sign in that is in that.
What's the khabar there? Sorry.
What's the khabar when you have a موجود?
موجودة.
Good. موجودة. إن في ذلك لآية موجودة للمؤمنين. Okay, so this is a situation of an indefinite khabar where there's no indefinite mubtada preceded by shibul jumla. So without the inna, you just say في ذلك آية, just like we did في البيت أكل, إن في البيت أكلا, right? It's the same thing, that same structure. This lam is just that lam of emphasis. Okay. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, and among his signs, يُرِيكُمُ الْبَرْقَ, he shows you the lightning, خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا, with fear and with hope, or with hope. وَيُنَزِّلُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ, and he sends down from the sky مَاءً, water. فَيُحْيِي بِهِ الْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا, and he brings to life with it the earth after its death. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ. Indeed, in that are signs for a people who think, يَعْقِلُونَ, who have intellect.
So where does ayatin go down?
Sound feminine plural.
اسمه إنه.
They don't show the alif in
So
this word, right?
ayatin is the mubtada.
Good. In this case, it's not called mubtada, it's called ismu.
Inna.
Ismu inna.
So la ayatin is your ismu inna, and it's mansub, i.e. it's gone up with a kasra, because it says, somebody said it, a sound?
Sound feminine plural.
Good. Jam'ul mu'annath salim, it's a sound feminine plural. Good. So your basic sentence is fi dhalika ayatun. That's your sentence. All right. So if I had kana here, I would say kana fi dhalika ayatun. Inna fi dhalika ayatin. Good. And this lam is the lam of emphasis. So the next one. Here we are. Ya qawmi, again the ya is dropped. هذه ناقة الله.
هذه is the mubtada.
ناقة is your khabar.
ناقة is the khabar.
Good. Good. Let's go to the next one. Yeah. All right. This is. Can anybody find the Jumla Ismiya here? It's right at the end. Right at the end of the verse.
وأنا أول المؤمنين.
وأنا أول المؤمنين. I'm the first of the believers. So what's the mubtada?
أنا.
And what's the khabar?
أول.
Good. Right. This one.
Why is inna written differently here?
Is it different? It's inna.
Inna and
meaning
na.
Indeed we.
We.
So then we must be the.
Is there a noun sentence here? I think I can see two noun sentences.
We. It's mubtada, and then
natma'u is the
khabar.
Good, so that's the khabar, isn't it? Natma'u is your khabar of the first noun sentence. Indeed, we wish, we hope. Inna natma'u an yaghfira lana rabbuna. We hope that our Lord will forgive us. Khatayana, our mistakes. An kunna awwal al-mu'minina. That we were the first of the believers.
Kunna is the mubtada.
Well,
we.
Kunna.
Well, the mubtada is the pronoun, or the ismu kana is the pronoun within the kunna, which is nahnu, isn't it?
Yes.
Good. So you say the kunna is a verb, and the ism kunna is the pronoun within the verb. And then what's the khabar?
أول.
Good. Awwala is your khabar. Right, let's move on to slides for today's session. Let me just change what I'm sharing. Oh yeah. All right, so we've got a few here today. We've got about 20 slides. Let's try and get through these. Bismillah. All right. From today, what do you recognize here? Al-ana wa qad asayta.
We have the harf al-istifham followed by another hamza.
Good. We have the al from al-ana and we have the istifham. So we don't say al-ana, we say al-ana, al-ana. Good. وَقَدْ عَصَيْتَ, and you have disobeyed قبل, previously. وَكُنْتَ مِنَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ, you are among those who spread mischief and corruption.
So was that al-ana? Was that and is now? Was that the al-ana from now?
And basically what this is saying is, what now?
What
so
now?
At the point of your death. So who is this talking about? The Fir'aun. So Fir'aun, just as he was about to die, he tried to believe in Musa. And Allah said to him, Al-an, what now?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think Al-an is only twice in the Quran.
Al-ana, yes.
Yeah.
Good. This is the other one. There we are. Al-ana wa qad kuntum bihi tasta'jilun. Yeah. ثم إذا ما وقع آمنتم به, and if it were to befall you, would you believe in it? الآن, what now? وقد كنتم به تستعجلون, and you had sought to speed it up. You sought to bring the punishment upon yourself, challenging God.
Well, I'm mustajilun, in a hurry, and I'm mustajilun.
Good. So you were tasta'jiluna means you were trying to hurry the punishment to yourself, saying if it's true, then why isn't the punishment coming? Yeah, that's the isti'jal in that verse. Okay. ليس عليكم جناح. ليس عليكم جناح.
جملة اسمية.
Good.
And اسم ليس جناح.
Good. جناح is the اسم ليس. Good. And what's the خبر?
موجود.
موجود. ليس عليكم جناح موجود. Done. جناح means sin. There is no sin upon you. There is no sin upon you. ليس عليكم جناح. So if you said إن عليكم جناح. حن. Good. ها أنتم. ها is تنبيه, means it draws attention. ها أنتم هؤلاء. ها أنتم هؤلاء حاججتم.
What does it mean?
So here you, these, meaning you, these people, حاججتم, you have disputed. فيما لكم به علم, in what you have knowledge. فَلِمَ تُحَاجُّونَ فِيمَا لَيْسَ لَكُمْ بِهِ عِلْمٌ. So why do you dispute in what you don't have knowledge? وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Several noun sentences. See if you can find them.
هؤلاء حاججتم.
Good. So أنتم and هؤلاء and حاججتم is a noun sentence. So أنتم is your مبتدا and هؤلاء and حاججتم is another noun sentence contained within the greater noun sentence, which is together the khabar of antum. Yeah, antum, you, these have disputed. So هؤلاء is a kind of sort of denigration of these people. So they're saying هؤلاء حاججتم. So sometimes if you're referring to someone, instead of saying you say, if you say to them this or that, yeah, you're referring to them with an ishara as a form of denigration. Yeah, so that's why Arabs, when they refer to somebody and they don't like them, they say ya hada, oh this. They refer to you as a hada or hadihi, ya hada, and it's a kind of insult. So ha antum haula'i hajajtum. Here you are, these people have disputed. Allah isn't going to address them directly. You put them into the third person with a demonstrative pronoun. Ha antum haula'i hajajtum. All right, so that's your first noun sentence. Fima lakum bihi ilmun. Lakum bihi ilmun. Laka ilmun. Lakum ilmun. Lakum dinukum.
I think this is all shibhul jumla, apart from ilmun, which is a khabar.
Okay, so is ilmun a khabar or a mubtada?
Mubtada.
Yeah, it's your indefinite mubtada preceded by shibhul jumla. Lakum. Lakum ilmun. You have knowledge. All right. So if I say laka akhun, what does that mean?
You have a brother.
You have a brother. Kana laka. You had a brother. Kana laka.
Akhan.
Akhun.
Akhun. Inna laka. Akhan. This is the indefinite mubtada. Fil madrasati talibun. Right? So fil madrasati is shibul jumla. So lakum is the same thing, shibul jumla. So fil madrasati talibun. Kana fil madrasati talibun. Inna fil madrasati talibun. So lakum ilmun, you have knowledge. Kana lakum
ilman.
Ilmun.
Some of you need to get your head around this. So kana doesn't change the mubtada. Kana lakum ilmun. Inna lakum ilman. You see, now let me tell you something. No matter how much grammar you teach a person, they won't get this right. You don't learn this through learning grammatical rules. I've taught grammar to people sometimes for years. They don't get this right. The only people who get it right are people who don't learn it through grammar. I'm telling you this. When I used to get it wrong. When I first studied grammar, I used to get it wrong all the time. And I only got it right when I started learning specific phrases with application. This is why the matrix method works, right? So in your matrices where you've got it as given phrases, you're going to get it right. You then extend the application of it into new phrases by analogy, right? So you need to associate this lakum ilmun to laka akhun, which you did, right? Lakum akhun, you have a brother. Kana laka akhun, you had a brother. Li'anna laka akhan, because you have a brother. You see? All right, let's find the other noun sentences. فَلِمَ تُحَاجُّونَ فِيمَا لَيْسَ لَكُمْ بِهِ عِلْمٌ.
لَيْسَ لَكُمْ بِهِ عِلْمٌ.
Good. لَيْسَ لَكُمْ. So this is, ilmun is what?
It's ismu laysa.
Ismu laysa. Good. That's why it's marfu'. Ismu laysa. It's not the khabar of laysa. It's ismu laysa. All right. Let's do this. This one. All right, this is the beginning. لَيْسَ الْبِرَّ أَن تُوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ. وَلَّا, that same verb, to turn. لَيْسَ الْبِرَّ أَن تُوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ. Can you see noun sentence here?
The piety is not
good.
This time we can see the khabar, but
we can see the khabar of laysa. Good. So
laysa.
where's the mubtada or the ismu laysa?
It's within laysa, so it's it or he.
Good. It is not the piety, literally. So the basic sentence was huwal birru. It is the piety. Laysa al birra. It is not the piety. And the meaning of it, the tafsir of the meaning of the huwa inside the laysa, which is the ismu laysa, is given by this sentence introducing an. So here you got that you turn your faces towards the east of the west is not piety. Does that make sense? So the mubtada is actually, the meaning of the mubtada is given in the sentence following here. All right.
Well, we wouldn't say that sentence is the mubtada. We'd say it's just the meaning thereof, right?
You can. You could say that this is the deferred. So the khabar has come before the mubtada here, and this whole thing is the mubtada. This whole sentence. Okay. All right. Let's have a look at this. All right. I'm going to focus on this bit here. وَلَيْسَ الْبِرُّ بِأَنْ تَأْتُوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ ظُهُورِهَا.
This time it's the mubtada.
This time al-birru is the mubtada. Can you see? So in this verse, لَيْسَ الْبِرَّ, and this one is وَلَيْسَ الْبِرُّ, and so piety is not, and then this is the khabar, بِأَنْ تَأْتُوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ ظُهُورِهَا, and piety is not to enter houses from above. So dhuhur is the roof. The people of Quraysh before Islam, they used to believe that when you come back from Hajj, you are not allowed to enter your house through the door. In those days, the roofs were not solid. So what they do is they'd go and climb over and go into the house through the top. And it was just a silly superstition. So this is a verse debunking this silly superstition. Allah is saying it is not piety to enter your house through the roof. وَلَكِنَّ الْبِرَّ but piety is, so what the al-birra there is your ism lakinna. Manittaqa is the one who fears God. Piety is the one who fears God, or pious. Birra here could be pious, but pious is the one who fears God. All right.
You said folkiha as well. Folkiha there or not?
Where?
Where you got zuhur? Where you saying above?
So dhuhur, the dhahr of something is literally the back, right? So if you have an animal,
I thought you said above. Okay.
The dhahr of a camel is the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the word dhuhur here means the top of the houses.
Oh, okay.
Because they would jump over the walls and come into the house. When I read this verse many times before I understood what dhuhur meant here. I thought dhuhur means the back door, because dhahr is like the back, because we humans were standing and our back is there. I thought they used to have a back door, come to the back door, but apparently they didn't have back doors really. They used to just come through the roof. And it's just a silly superstition. It's a bit like, piety isn't avoiding walking under a ladder, but piety is the person who fears God. You see, in modern terms, that's the message. Okay, all right. Where's the noun sentence here?
Inna Allah wa malaikatahu.
Good. So what's the mubtada or ism?
Allah.
Allah. Good. And what's the khabar?
Yusalluna.
Yusalluna. Good. Iqbal, you keep thinking the shibul jumla is the khabar. Right? So the shibul jumla, remember, is never the khabar. It's when you see a preposition, it's not the khabar. So inna Allah yusalluna. Allah, think of the meaning. Allah sends mercy. Allah is merciful. Allah is merciful. So this yusalluna, the verb, is your khabar.
And wal malaikatu, it's not included in the inna. Why is that?
Because this is just a conjuncted phrase. So the wow introduces a conjunction. So this phrase is additional. In Arabic, the sentence is just the core pillars, the mubtada and the khabar. Everything else is outside the jumla. Yeah?
Sorry, I think it appears that malaikatu is default, but it's not. It's malaikata, and then there's a who attached pronoun. So the who is referring back to Allah. No, it's not the default state.
Good. Well done, Iqbal. Thanks.
That makes more sense. Yeah. Because I was thinking there's two subjects, right? There's Allah and His angels. I was reading His wrong.
Who is the His, yeah. So, and that agrees with Allah because it's conjuncted to it. Okay? All right. It's one of my favorite verses. Kuntum khayra ummatin.
Antum is the mubtada. Khayru ummatin.
Kuntum is the mubtada.
Okay, kuntum firstly is a verb. So the mubtada will be the pronoun in
the
kuntum.
Pronoun in it.
Which is the tum. this tum is actually a pronoun. So
that you are the best of the nation.
so you are the best nation. You are the best nation. So tum is your mubtada. The pronoun tum is your mubtada. And what's the khabar?
Khayra.
Khayra. Good. Khayra is your khabar. And ummatin is the mudaf ilay. That's outside the jumla. Yeah.
Is it you are the best nation or you were the best nation?
Yeah. Why is it always you were? It refers to
So
them in the
you find this as a style in the Quran where we use kana. We use perfect verbs where there isn't really a perfect tense in order to create the meaning of completeness, because the perfect verb indicates completeness. Okay, so you are completely the best nation. That's the
I
reason.
always used to wonder why it was all Ghana in the Quran, referring to that. So you would translate it as not you were.
That's right. So you don't translate it as you were, you translate it as you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let's see if we can get this one. إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب.
لآيات is the khabar.
مبتدا.
Well done. لآيات is your مبتدا. It's your indefinite مبتدا. Which is why it's gone up. Did it go up?
No.
How did it go up?
It went up because
It went
it's
up,
sound
but then
feminine plural.
Grammatically, it's gone up.
Good, it's gone up with a kasra because it's a sound feminine plural. Good. So without the inna, you'd say fi khalqi samawati ayatun. Yeah, in the creation of the heavens is a sign. But beware, sometimes the khabar or the mubtada or ismu inna can be a whole line later.
So where's the khabar ustad? Is it
Where's the?
mawjudun, is it?
Yeah, the khabar is mawjudun. Right, how many have we got left? We've got about 15 slides left. Let's try and go through these really fast. Let's finish these off quickly. I'll help you. All right. إن هذا لهو القصص الحق.
هذا مبتدا هو القصص خبر.
قصص is the khabar.
Good. And the huwa is ضمير فصل. Good. وإن الله لهو العزيز الحكيم. Allah is the mubtada or ism inna, and huwa is
Azizu.
Good. Right. ذلك بأن الله هو الحق. We did this one before, or similar one.
Allah is the khabar, al-haqqu is the definite.
وأن ما يدعون من دونه الباطل. We did this one. يسألونك عن الخمر والميسر. They ask you about خمر الميسر. قل فيهما إثم. قل فيهما إثم.
Ismun is a mubtada.
Yes, good. Ithmun is your indefinite mubtada, preceded by shibhul jumla. So you say kana fihima
Mun.
Mun. Inna fihima Man. Mumtaz. Well done. Wa ithmuhuma akbaru. That's mubtada. Akbaru is khabar. Okay, next one. Look, ذلك بأن الله. We've done this one. We're going the wrong way. Okay. فأزلهما الشيطان عنها فأخرجهما مما كانا فيه. So Shaitan made them slip, and he caused them to leave, exited them from what they were in. وقلنا اهبطوا, and we said, descend. بعضكم لبعض عدو. Some of you enemies to others.
بعضكم عدو.
Good. بعضكم. So بعضكم is مبتدا. عدو is خبر. ولكم في الأرض مستقر. And for you upon the earth is an abode, a residence, مستقر.
Indefinite mubtada.
Indefinite mubtada, مستقر, preceded by
شبه الجملة.
شبه الجملة لكم, yeah, or في الأرض, depending on which one you say it's attached to. Good. So you say كان لكم مستقر
رن.
رن. إن لكم مستقر
رن.
رن. Good. We're doing this to the nth degree, aren't we? Okay. وكان الله بكل شيء عليما. وكان الله بكل شيء عليما.
مبتدأ الله خبر عليما.
Good. So we call this اسم كان, yeah? الله اسم كان, عليما خبر كان. إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم.
مبتدأ أكرم.
Good. أكرم is your مبتدأ, what is your خبر? Indeed, the most noble of you with Allah is the most pious of you.
أتقاكم.
أتقاكم. أتقى is your خبر. إن الله عليم. Allah is اسم إن, عليم is your خبر. Right. إن الله كان عليما حكيما.
Wow. There's اسمه إن أنا خبر of كان.
So this whole sentence كان عليما حكيما is the khabar of this mubtada, yeah? Then within this sentence you've got كان, which is فعل ناقص, it's a deficient verb. The ism كان is the huwa within the كان, which refers back to Allah, and aliman is the khabar of this كان, yeah? So you've got two noun sentences within this structure here. Okay, this one. وكان تحته كنز لهما. وكان تحته كنز لهما.
Kanzun is the ismu kana.
Good. So تحته كنز. Where's the شبه الجملة?
تحته.
Under it. كنز. كان تحته كنز. إن تحته كنز. Then. Good. Perfect. وكان أبوهما صالحا. So Abu is your اسم كان, صالحا is your خبر. Let's go up. وكان في المدينة 9 رهط. وكان في المدينة 9 رهط. There were 9 groups.
رهط.
رهط is group.
9 groups is
تسعة is اسم كان.
كان. Good. 9 is the اسم كان. في المدينة is the شبه الجملة. إن في المدينة 9 رهط. Good. Music to my ears. Right. ويستنبئونك أحق هو. أحق هو.
Question.
It is true.
Is it true?
Is it true?
Okay.
So what's the مبتدأ?
هو.
And what's the خبر?
حق.
Good. حق. So they've switched because of the question. Yeah. قل E. E means yes. You know, like in some places they say I. I means yes. So the Arabic version of I is E. It means نعم. وَرَبِّي إِنَّهُ لَحَقٌّ. Indeed, it is the truth. So who is your ism inna, and حَقٌّ is your khabar. أنتم ما أنتم بمعجزين. So this ma is doing the job of laysa. أنتم is the ism, and بمعجزين is the khabar. The mu'jizin is the khabar, and this ba is za'ida. The ba is actually an extra ba. There's a concept in Arabic grammar called harfu jar za'id, and what do you call it? A non-semantic preposition. It has no semantic value.
It doesn't mean
Right.
from.
Hmm?
So it doesn't like mean from the.
This ba doesn't mean with. So what is it? Yeah. So just and you are not able to overcome. Yeah. So this ba has no you are not overcomers, really. So this mu'jizina is actually goes up on the basis that it's the khabar of ma, which is doing the job of laysa. Yeah, it's a bit complex. So we'll come back to that later. Right. فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا إِنْ أَدْرِي أَقَرِيبٌ أَمْ بَعِيدٌ مَا تُوعَدُونَ.
Is it close or far?
I don't know whether it is close or far what you are promised, whether what you are promised is close or far. So where's the mubtada?
Where's the la adri? Where's the I don't know?
This word in also has a meaning of not.
Oh, I thought it was
in Arabic, in can also mean not. In adri means I don't know. So in adri means la adri.
Oh, okay.
What I don't know whether what you're promised is close. I'm helping you here. Is close or far?
Ma is
the
mubtada.
Ma is the mubtada. Ma tu'aduna qaribun is your
Khabar.
Good. And they're switched because there's a question. Qaribun, is it close or far? Is it close or far? What you're promised? Is what you're promised close or far? All right. أكان للناس عجبا أن أوحينا. This is hard. Not that hard. كان عجبا. Ajab means amazing. Is it an amazing thing for people? I've told you the answer.
Is that the khabar? Is it khabar? Ajaban.
Ajaban is your khabar, and your ism kana is the huwa contained in kana, and the huwa is explained by this sentence here. Remember we did laysa al-birra an tuwallu. Yeah, so the an tuwallu, that sentence was the explanation of the subject of laysa, which was huwa. So same thing here. Akana linnasi ajaban. Is it amazing for people? What is amazing? An awhayna ila rajulin minhum, that we revealed to a man among them. You see? So this is the explanation of the ism of kana, or you could think of this actually as the ism of kana. And finally, alastu bi rabbikum. Alastu bi rabbikum.
Is it I?
Am I not?
I is the mubtada. Ismu laysa.
Which I?
Lastu.
Okay. Lastu is obviously the verb lastu, and the ism of lastu is this tu, this pronoun I. Oh, you meant I. Yes, good.
Yes, I.
I. Am I not? I. And then this ba is zaida.
Yeah.
Yeah. So without the ba, you'd say alastu rabbakum.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this ba, it makes the word after it majroor lafdhan in what you say. So you say bi rabbikum, but grammatically this word rabb is mansub, it's up, because it's the khabar of lastu.
Okay.
Right? So we say this word here is majroorun lafdhan, it's majroor in its utterance, mansubun mahallan, it's mansub in its grammatical position. Does that make sense? Because it's the khabar of lastu. So you say alastu bi rabbikum, and this is again an Arabic style to put the bi before the khabar of lastu. Yeah. For example, the Prophet Muhammed said when the angel Jibril said Iqra, he said Ma ana biqari'in. Yeah. He could have said Ma ana qari'an on the basis that the ma is doing the job of laysa. So the meaning is lastu biqari'in. I'm not a reader. Lastu biqari'in. All right. Same thing happening here. Right, I hope you enjoyed it. We had some challenging verses there, didn't we?
Really enjoyable.
This is second to nothing, isn't it? Yeah, going through the Quran and trying to understand.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're looking at
very
really simple things like noun sentences, alhamdulillah. Okay, so next week we're going to do the verb sentence. Sure. And then the week after that, we're doing an extra lesson, aren't we? Making it 6 sessions. The week after that, inshallah, I'll decide what we'll do.
Inshallah.
Leave that to me. All right, because the plan initially was to do No, so this
Weak
is
verbs.
this is our fourth session, isn't it? So we were going to do we were going to initially do verb sentence this week, and then I was going to decide what to do next week. Now we've got an extra session, so next week we'll do the verb sentence, and then the final week we'll think of something fun. All right, any questions before we go? No, all right. قولوا معي سبحانك اللهم
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك
أشهد أن لا إله
أشهد أن لا إله
إلا أنت
إلا أنت
أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
وأتوب إليك.
جزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم
وعليكم السلام.